You are watching another developer video tutorial, and in this one I'm going to show you how to integrate and initialize the Pummel Head Flash API into a Flash project using Flash CS5. Okay, so as you can see right here, I am in the administrative pop-up back on the Pummel Head website, and the first thing we need to do is we need to actually get the Pummel Head API, which is in the form of a SWIC. So usually what you do is you click right here on this button, and this would do another pop-up which would download the SWIC file for you. But I already have that downloaded, so we're just going to use that existing one. So now let's go to Flash CS5. Alright, now we're going to create a new ActionScript 3 project. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to first click right over here where it says ActionScript settings. Then in the ActionScript settings, you need to click on library path, which is right next to source path, and then you'll see this icon that looks like a SWIC, which is basically a compiled library which contains all the classes which have special properties and functions that will allow us to get information and send information to the Pummel Head servers. So click on that button. Then the Pummel Head API.SWIC file that you downloaded previously from the website, click on that, hit open, and then hit OK. And that's it. You've integrated it into your Flash project. So now you have access to all of the classes and properties and functions that you need to send and receive information from the Pummel Head servers. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is we actually need to initialize the actual Pummel Head library. To do that, we are going to go to the timeline on the first frame, right click on it, scroll down to action. Then the first thing we need to do is we need to actually import the Pummel Head library. Now this isn't necessarily needed, but I would still advise it just so you know what exactly you're using. So to do this, we do import.com.pummelhead, and then we're going to import the class called Pummel Head. This class contains a bunch of static function calls and properties that we need to call and pass information into so we can communicate with the Pummel Head server. Next, we're going to actually initialize the Pummel Head library. To do that, we do Pummel Head, which is the name of the class, then dot, and then we need to look for the function called init. Now, this is actually going to initialize the library, and the very first parameter, as you can see, is called API key. So what we need to do now is go back to the Pummel Head website, and then right here in the resources and the developer administrative pop-up, we just need to copy our API key. We need this so that way we can make calls to the server, the Pummel Head server. So simply just paste it right in there. Cool, we're done for that part. Now the next parameter is we need to pass in a reference to the Flash stage object, which is typically created right when the application has started up, usually right after the preloader. So let's pass in, and it's just called, the object name is just called stage. Or I believe you can do this and then look for stage if you want. Both ways work. Okay. We do comma. Now you see there are two more parameters, but these parameters are optional and not required for this particular tutorial, so don't worry about them. So that's it. We're done. We've initialized the Pummel Head API. What this is going to do, this is going to, in the background as your application is loading, after you've uploaded it to the Pummel Head website, it's going to do a whole bunch of background checks, and it's going to grab the basic information needed for you, and it's going to populate a whole bunch of variables and other things so you can have access to all kinds of information related to the player, the current tournament being played, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of see that when we type Pummel Head dot. So once the Pummel Head function init has been fired, and loaded up successfully, this tournament object is going to be filled with all kinds of information related to the tournament, and this player object is also going to be filled with all kinds of information related to the player. So that's why it's very, very important to always call the init function right when your application loads. Typically, I'd say the best time to do it would be right after maybe the preloader, or perhaps in the background on your main menu screen. But that is pretty much it. Now, as you can see here, I'm doing it on the first frame. There are lots of different ways that you can approach setting up your application inside the Flash IDE. But just for this particular example, I'm just doing it in this way because it's very quick. So yeah, for this, I believe that's it for this video tutorial. And in future tutorials, I'll be explaining in more detail in all the aspects of the library and everything it can do. So thanks for watching.